This house right behind us is the house of the president of City Council, Lisa Bender. And Lisa Bender did a big old song and dance at Powderhorn, saying that she's going to defund the police, and then there was no Q&A. So I thought, what better situation than to have people that know City Council better than City Council, and to have two people that are more knowledgeable than it, to sit and have a forum real quick. It's going to be very short, and if you raise your hand, we'll get our people to answer your questions. So first I want to call, no stranger to anybody, to interview real quick about City Council, Nekima Levy Armstrong. Give it up, everybody. And if Lisa can hear us, there's a chair right here. There's a blue chair right here. It's blue for Democrat and nonprofit. That's right there. So, first off, I just want to ask, what is the function of City Council, Nekima?
That's a good question.
What are they supposed to be doing?
We're still trying to figure out what their actual jobs are. But seriously, City Council has oversight of many of the city agencies. They also help approve the budget. Each city council member represents one of the 13 wards. So when things are happening in your ward, when there's no snow removal going on, you got potholes, you got all kinds of things happening. Crime, economic issues, youth programs, city council members are supposed to be responsive to those issues.
And what has Lisa Bender done for those issues in her ward and being the president of the city? What is her role and what has she done? Like, what's her track record that she knows?
So within the last couple of years, Lisa Bender became the president of, sorry my mic is going out, became the president of the city council. And in that role, she's supposed to help set the tone and the agenda for the priorities of city council.
There you go. I might pass it back.
All right. She's supposed to help set the tone and the agenda for City Council. So she's done a couple things that have been concerning. Since first of all, if you look at her bio on the city's website, she talks about her areas of focus. Criminal justice reform and police reform is not one of those areas. But she talks about bike lanes and other things that matter to white people in the city of Minneapolis. That has been her area of focus. It's just, that's no secret. And the one thing that she does mention in her bio that, you know, she helped vote for was a repeal of lurking and spitting laws, right? We got the city council to vote 12-1 in favor of repealing those laws. But that was the power of the people that did that, right? Back when I was a law professor at St. Thomas, my law students and I collaborated with the community to push for a repeal of spitting and lurking laws. So all she had to do was show up and vote. But that's the only thing on her resume, on her bio, that is connected to Black lives and what matters to our community.
What are spitting and lurking laws for people that don't understand what that is?
So spitting and lurking laws are like the Black Codes. Black Codes were put in place after slavery was supposedly abolished. I say supposedly because the 13th Amendment opened the door to a new form of slavery through the criminal justice system. So in many southern states, but northern ones too, like Minnesota, they put Black Codes on the books to punish standard behavior by Black people. So if Black people were hanging out late at night, that was a crime. Unemployed, spitting on the sidewalk, all of those things were considered crimes. So if you look in Minneapolis's ordinances, we had crimes against spitting and lurking. And those particular laws were being used against young Black men in the city. They weren't stopping white joggers for spitting, but they were stopping young Black men. They were accosting them. Some of them would be given citations and some of them would be arrested. So we were fed up. We went to City Council, mobilized the community. We did the research. We demanded that they repeal those laws. So that's about the only thing on her bio, but that was, again, a community-driven initiative to help stop some of the racial profiling that was impacting Black people.
Now, I'll go and rewind really quick about George Floyd, but I want to catch up recently. They had a hearing and repealed or reformed some of the police, what police are able to do or not do. And I spoke with you briefly about it, and I said, hey, well, they banned chokeholds and a certain, certain other physical activity. And I remember you saying, well, it's not enough. What what actually happened there, and what did they try to sneak by people with
Are
that?
you saying the legislature?
Yeah.
So the legislature did not ban chokeholds. They left a caveat in the law that still allows for chokeholds if police officers feel that they're in imminent danger or someone else is in danger. So they might as well have kept chokeholds on the books, right? That's why we have to pay attention, and we've gotten on the media about them calling this sweeping legislation. It is not sweeping legislation. This is the bare minimum of what they could have done, and other states have passed even more progressive laws than the place where George Floyd was killed, which is completely unacceptable. So no, they didn't ban chokeholds. We have to push back against those false narratives. When the media, most of them are not lawyers, they're not looking at the language, they're reading the narrative from legislators who are patting themselves on the back, and they don't have it right. So they did at least one thing, right, that we can be proud of. So Kobe Heiser's family, Noah McCourt, they fought to get autism training for all police officers. We got to give them props for that, because Kobe Heiser was essentially killed because of an officer's response to his autism. So that training is necessary, but there's no accountability in the new legislation that passed. And again, it's the bare minimum. One of the things Communities United Against Police Brutality has fought for a long time is for police to carry their own liability insurance, right? Even in the city, there was overwhelming public support for that. But what did City Council and the mayor do? They put the kibosh on that. So that's why when these officers kill people, they don't have to pay out of their own pockets. They're not responsible. That's taxpayers who are paying millions of dollars for what they're doing. Now, one of the problems that I have with Lisa, aside from her failure to focus on Black lives, she can't say she didn't know. She's been elected since 2013. In the midst of that, Danielle, your brother was killed. We had an 18-day occupation in front of the 4th precinct. She came out there one of those days just so she could tweet about what was going on, but she didn't do a damn thing in terms of changing policy, right? So we're fed up with that kind of stuff. So even her being out there, knowing the community's out there in the freezing cold, standing up for Jamar, standing up for changes to our system of policing. And one of the things that the president gets to do is participate in some of the negotiations when lawsuits have been filed. So Jamar's family was one of the families that filed suit. Lisa was there as a part of those negotiations. We know Justine Damon's family, Justine Damon Rusacek, who was killed in 2017, a fluent white woman. Her family filed a lawsuit. Under Lisa Bender's leadership, her family got a whopping, unprecedented $20 million. Jamar's family got $200,000. There was no film in either of those cases, right? Jamar died in 2015. His family didn't get $200,000 till last year. Justine was killed in 2017. Her family got paid even before Jamar's family. And then you look at Terrence Franklin, who was killed in 2013 in this community, right? His family got just over $700,000 just last year after Justine. That was under Lisa Bender's leadership. So if Black Lives matter to you, why are there these uneven and inequitable settlements when people's lives are taken? Why are you showing us that a white life matters more than a black life in the city of Minneapolis? They're telling us through their dollars. So them showing up in Powderhorn Park on some bullshit is nothing but bullshit. Because you have a chance right there with the power of your pen when you're writing those checks, if our lives matter, to settle equitably for our families. They all should have gotten the same thing because there was no video in either of those cases. It's a slap in the face. You're already white, full of privilege, already living in an affluent community, and now on the backs of black and brown and native people who've been out here for years, pounding the pavement, being excluded, being talked about for standing up for black lives, you give a white affluent family $20 million. So what does that say? Our lives don't matter to Lisa Bender, period, point blank. And that's why when we're talking about this current issue, they are causing a divide in the activist community. Because you have people like, abolish now, do this now. Y'all think we want police running around doing what the hell? No. But at the same time, who's going to vote on no plan? Right? How do you put some language down that you just finished writing, vote on it, and then try to sell it to the public? As a lawyer, there's no way I can get behind that when you haven't done your due diligence. You haven't come to the community. You haven't talked to black people. who are most likely to be impacted by police violence and community violence. So again, you're showing us that our lives don't matter, because we didn't have our asses out at Powderhorn Park. They wasn't talking to us. They didn't pick up the phone. They didn't come to black churches. They didn't come to the black community. They didn't even hold no damn Zoom calls to talk to us and see what the hell that we wanted. And y'all know damn well they're not out there talking to young black men, the one who's being accosted, the one who's being strip searched in alleys, the one who's being kicked down and beaten. They didn't talk to a single young black man, but they're trying to sell us some shit because they know that white people will jump on a bandwagon over some buzzwords. Equity, diversity, defund, abolish, cheerlead, cheerlead, cheerlead. That's not what the fuck we're doing today. We want the truth. We want you to exercise due diligence. We want our community to have what we need, because we're the ones suffering while you got a six-figure job and some damn benefits. Period.
Yes. I'll wrap up with this before we bring David up, Nekima. And I appreciate you giving everybody an education lesson.
So y'all done shook something up here.
If we can't get it from City Council, we might as well get it from people that care. So I'll wrap on this. How can people affect City Council, or how can they change it? How can they change this narrative?
Well, one of the things that we have to do is to resolve to get their asses out of office. They don't know how to govern. That's just the bottom line, y'all. I'm not just saying that to be saying that, right? Like, there's real pain attached to saying that, because of all the times that we went to City Hall and we asked them to focus on the police in Minneapolis. We asked them to use their power. We asked them after Thurman Blevins was killed, for example. We said we want public hearings on this situation. We want you to run through what policies were violated so that these cops can be fired. They didn't do any of that. Not only that, when we found out that cops were pressuring EMTs to give people a date rape drug.
Wow.
Even the mayor, who I do not stand behind, said he was going to go get Sally Yates as an independent investigator. They were going to pay all this money for a credible investigation. Lisa Bender and the rest of City Council put the kibosh on it. So there's been zero accountability for cops pressuring EMTs to give people a date rape drug. And many of those people were black and poor, and they didn't do a damn thing about it. So again, they're going to Powderhorn Park saying these things, but it's just lip service to gain national headlines and to look like they're doing something. They're selling people okie doke, and what we're telling you guys is don't fall for the okie doke. Hold them accountable. Ask the right questions. Demand justice. Show up at their houses and make them uncomfortable. There should be a